Hello, my name is Paul Jenkins, Managing Director of UK Packaging Innovation Consultancy, ThePackHub, and I'm delighted to be joined by Marika Knorr of CCL Labels. Hello, Marika, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very interested to find out a little bit more about yourself. So please tell me a little bit more about your sort of history in packaging.
Okay, well, my name is Marika Knorr and I'm based in Cologne, Germany. I have over 12 years of experience in corporate communications and marketing for multinational companies. I joined the packaging business 5 years ago and have been gradually moving towards sustainability because that's like the most dominating and important topic. And I joined CCL Label 1.5 years ago as the head of communications and sustainability.
Excellent. Great. Really good to hear that. So tell me a bit more about CCL Label then, please. I'd like to know much more about what you do.
Sure. So CCL Label is the largest label producer in the world. We have at the moment about like 190 sites worldwide. We produce on all continents and we have like 22,000 employees all in all. We make all sorts of labels. So, I mean, the ones that consumers probably know are the ones that are on the food and drinks items in the supermarket, and also on all the home and personal care, like shampoo bottles and detergents and all of that. But we also do like specialty labels like RFID tags and stuff like that, very sophisticated labels for iPhones, for example, or like cell phones, and also in the automotive industry, we have a lot of labels that we produce. And one thing I really thought was really interesting is we also do banknotes.
Oh, wow. That's a lucrative business to be in. Yes, absolutely. Okay. We can't really have a conversation about packaging without sort of approaching, the world of sustainability. And of course, a label is a familiar packaging item that can influence recyclability positively and negatively. So tell me about how CCL Label improves label recycling. I know you've got this EcoFloat product. I'd like to know a bit more about that if we can.
Yeah, well, I think something you have to understand is that a label is not a label. So, I mean, if you look at a label, they all kind of like look alike. But actually, these are very engineered products that are very functional. So what I'm saying is you can't use the same label you use for a glass packaging for a PET bottle, for example. You really have to see what you're going to put the label onto, like the primary packaging, consider that to be able to choose the right label or sleeve to go with that. For example, for returnable glass bottles, say, let's take a beer bottle, and if that beer bottle, is consumed and it circulates back to the brewery, then they need to be able to wash off this label like really quickly in their washing environment. And the label also needs to take the ink and the adhesive with it so that it doesn't contaminate the washing water. So that's why, you want to use a certain type of label that we call a wash-off label. And if you look at, for example, PET bottles, you need to know that one really important step in PET recycling is the sink float process, where you kind of have like all these PET bottles going into recycling, and then they are all like chopped up. And then they enter a washing basin where the low density parts are separated from the high density parts. And PET has a higher density. So you would want a label with a low density, a floatable label, so that they then are really cleanly separated and you don't have any label or sleeve parts floating within the PET, because that's what you want to get, like really high quality, clean PET flakes, so that then you can introduce them to bottle recycling, closing the loop.
Okay, and then how long has EcoFloat been in existence?
Excuse me?
How long has EcoFloat been in existence?
The labels itself?
I'll ask that question again. How long has EcoFloat been around?
Well, EcoFloat, that's our low density film material. So that's for sleeve applications. That was introduced into the market by CCL last year. So it's kind of like new. I mean, low density polyolefin films have been around for a long, long time, but this is really like a new version and a very improved version that really works very well in recycling. We also have low density PSL labels, so the self-adhesive labels, and they have been around for many years.
Okay, and what kind of markets has EcoFloat been sort of tested in so far?
Well, EcoFloat was originally developed for PET bottles. So that's typically it's a beverage, but also now increasingly home and personal care, because they are using more and more PET bottles to put laundry detergent and shampoo in. So that's like a big market for us. And then we also saw a lot of demand from customers to actually use this polyolefin material with an HDPE container or a PP cup, because it can be recycled together.
Okay, and presumably in its development, you worked with sort of the recyclers to make sure it all worked properly and was able to be recycled effectively.
Right. I mean, we developed the material, and we then went, first of all, we did like sorting tests, because like that's a big concern that, you know, as the sleeve is made from a different material than the actual underlying packaging, you need to make sure that the NIR detector is able to detect the underlying material. So we did a couple of tests with InterZero, which were all positive. So the, you know, the packaging was sorted into the right container. And then we also did a couple of tests with the Cyclos HTP, which is a very renowned institute. And we had then checked that if you recycle the EcoFloat polyolefin sleeve together with an HDPE container or a PP dairy cup, that doesn't hinder the recycling. And we got like really good rates on the efficient recycling of the two things together.
Excellent. And does it, is the actual market of significance? You know, are some markets easier to for EcoFloat to be introduced than others?
Not really. It's a pretty universal material. I mean, we got really early approval from EPBP, which is the European PET bottle platform, which is like really important for Europe. So that was like our first step. So we rolled it out in Europe. But we recently also got approval from APR in the US, and we are currently getting it approved in South Africa. So it's really it's a global material, because we really want to supply it to our global customers who can then use it in all the markets.
That was going to be my next question, actually, is where would it be available? So you're saying the rollout is progressing nicely across the globe, and most markets, most countries will be able to access this technology.
Right. I mean, we just invested a couple of million in a new line in Poland, which will come online in the beginning of next year. So we will be able to supply huge quantities to the big brands in Europe soon.
So tell me a bit more about the sort of results that you've delivered for some of your clients there.
Yeah. So for example, we had like one big milk bottle producer, dairy producer, and they chose a rPET, so recycled PET bottle, to carry their milk. And they really need to get high quality PET flakes back to be able to, you know, continue on with this bottle to bottle recycling. So that's why they asked us to suggest a ideal decoration for this bottle. And we told them to go with EcoFloat, because this is really the material that will ensure high quality PET flakes in the end. That was one. Then another, I'm sure you have heard about Loop.
Yes, the TerraCycle thing. Yeah.
Yeah, TerraCycle. And they, you know, provide returnable packaging systems for the consumers. And of course, if you have like, you know, they have like really nice aluminum packaging where they can put nuts in or tea and things like that. So that's something where we provide easily wash off labels so that they can be, you know, cleaned in the recycling facilities and the cleaning facilities. And it washes the label off, and they can put a new one on and return it to the customer. That's
excellent. It hadn't occurred to me that your solutions not only are suitable for sort of single-use packaging, it's for reusable as well. That's
sure.
a very good, effective opportunity there.
And another example would be that one large producer of home and personal care, they are switching their entire lines of laundry detergent and also softeners, for example, they're switching them to EcoFloat, because what they used to do to maintain brand identity is they would use colored PET bottles or HDPE bottles that then were like really hard to recycle. So by using a sleeve, they can still maintain the brand identity, but use clear PET bottles that then are easier to recycle. So that's also something we are looking at, to switching entire lines to this material to be able to achieve an even higher quality PET yield.
Excellent. So it sounds like you're in food, beverage, health and beauty, household, and around the world. It seems that you've got most corners of the globe cornered.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally we supply to all kinds of sizes of businesses, but we do have a lot of multinational big brand customers that do sell in all the markets. So that's where we need to be able to supply as well. But we also have a lot of smaller to mid-sized customers that are really innovative and also come up with a lot of sustainable packaging, which for us then is really fun to participate with developing the right label for them.
Absolutely. And are you able to sort of give us an indication where EcoFloat may next be seen without giving too many trade secrets away?
Well, I think it's going to be a big hit on the shelves of the home and personal care. Those are really, we see a lot of push and switching there. And we also have a lot of trials with big beverage brands. And Excellent. We see, now that the legislation in Europe is moving and all the countries are now adapting the European legislation of 25% rPET in the bottles or even higher. And then they are turning towards solutions like, what decoration do we use so that we can make sure that we have enough PET to ensure bottle-to-bottle recycling?
Absolutely. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Right. So how can people get in contact with you?
Well, I guess I'll give you my email address, which is the easiest. That would be mknorr@cclind.com.
Excellent. And the website?
The website is CCLLabel.com.
Okay, excellent. And that will be showing on the screen as you can see it now.
Okay.
So, that is
excellent. That will be good.
Thank you very much for your time. I've really enjoyed learning a bit more about yourself, about CCL Label, and about your EcoFloat recycling solution. So thank you very much for your time, and look forward to speaking to you again sometime soon.
Well, thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to talk about the wonderful world of labels.